How do you know if you're actually big or not, or maybe just average? Most lifters don't really have a clue of what the averages is. They don't know where they stand, and if you don't know where you stand, how do you know what your goal is, right? What is big? What is average? What's athletic? If you don't know the numbers, how do you know what you should be going for as a lifter? In this video, I'm going to bring to light the major muscle groups of what you can measure, what those averages are, and what your goals should be depending on where you are in your fitness journey. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, if you're on Facebook, please follow my page. I make content like this. I try to do a video a week, and we'll bring more content like this to you. Okay, let's jump into the beloved arm size. All guys want bigger arms. All girls probably want bigger arms too. Maybe not the size of a guy's arms. Some women might even want the size of a guy's arms themselves. Depends on their goal and what they like and where they want to go in their fitness journey. So what is the average, right? We want to beat average, obviously, as a lifter. The average arm size for a man is between 12 to 14 inches. This is including non-lifters. This is including lifters. So just a general average is 12 to 14 inches. So if you lift anything about 15 inches or above, you are then above average in arm size. You generally want to be bigger than 15 inches. You generally look like you lift if you're within the 16 to 17 inch range. People will notice that, and they'll probably comment on that. They know you lift, right? 17 inch plus, you are in the big category, right? Most people are not naturally going to have 17 inch arms. You are big, right? 18 plus is going to be elite natural territory. You're a big boy. You've been lifting for a long time. For women, average is around 9 to 11 inches. Once again, that is including people that don't lift and people that do lift, 9 to 11 inches. So generally 12 inches plus, especially if you're lean, is going to look like an athletic build for a woman. 13 to 14 plus is strong and muscular for a woman. Now, these averages are going to be skewed. If you're a natural lifter and you're above average, you're doing great. Say you are a steroid user, you generally want to be in the top end, and you need to be even surpassing these average numbers. You might not do it right away if you're using gear, but eventually you want to be above those numbers because you do have that added testosterone. I also want to note too on this that generally speaking, if you're leaner, your arms are going to look bigger. I am more of a stocky build, and I have like a 17-inch arms, which would be in the bigger end, but they don't look as big because I'm not as lean as I could be. They'll probably look bigger if I lean down and the cuts show in it and stuff like that, and I'd probably be about 15.5 to 16-inch arms. So the leaner you are, the more your arms will show and look bigger. So if you have like a 16.5 inch arms lean, they're gonna look massive compared to, like I said, like right now mine's like 17 inches, and it's the chubby. I have a chubby build, so it's not like I got a strong chubby build is what I got. So it's not gonna look as impressive if say you are a lean 16.5, right? But yeah, those are your arm size. I would say if you want to set goals, if you're below that 15 inches as a man, or below, what is it again? 12 inches for a woman, that should be your first goal, to hit the 15 inches. You're above average at the 12 inches. And then your next goal will be the next bigger number, right? And try to get them as big as you can. So that's where you should start. And those are the numbers for arm size. We'll go ahead and move into chest next. Next up is chest. You want a bigger chest? I like a bigger chest. Guys like bigger chests, and women like bigger chests, obviously. The average for guys is going to be between 38 to 42 inches. Once again, these are average chest size for the general population, right? So 38 to 42 inches. Some are lifters, some are non-lifters. I'd argue too that those are some big numbers because the United States has obesity problem. A lot of people are overweight. So 38 to 42 inches are including those people. So what are some good numbers as a man you should be trying to hit? If you are between 42 and 45 inches on your chest, which should be measured like right across your nipples and going around your back. 42 to 45 inches is solid. You got a solid chest, right? You're above average, especially if you're lean. It's probably gonna look good. 45 to 48 inches is a big chest, right? You're hitting the big side. Anything 48 plus is just well developed. You're in like, pro lifter category here. I also have a 50-inch chest. It's a pretty big chest. But once again, I'm on the chunkier side. I am definitely like overweight. I should be leaner. I'm guessing I probably fall into the 45 to 48 category if I were to lean down completely and see what it looks like from there. So it would still be in the big category. But right now I'm in the very developed. It could be lower. For women, the chest sizes can vary considerably. Obviously, you have boobs, right? So your chest size is going to fluctuate depending how big your breasts are. So it's hard to say what's a big chest on that one, but generally it falls into the 36 to 42 inch range plus. So keep that in mind, and that means that you're going to have a bigger chest if you're, the 42 inch size. But in reality, your chest size is going to look bigger depending how small your waist is. Once again, it's going back to the same concept of the arms. The leaner you are, the more developed it's going to look. So someone that has a chubby, 48-inch chest with the waist is going to look like he's way less and out of shape than someone that's a 48 chest with like a 34-inch waist. So the leaner you are, the bigger your chest is end up going to look, and the more developed it'll look. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to waist size. This is a very underestimated measurement. The smaller your waist is, the bigger everything else is going to look because you're going to get that V taper that you want. As a man, even as a woman, generally speaking, women want to go for the oval shape. So even for them, the smaller the waist, the better they're going to look, right? So let's get started and see some of the numbers here for the man. The average waist size is between 36 and 40 inches. I'm going to revert back to what I said in the chest measurements. Generally speaking, this is going to be in the higher end because we do have an overweight problem. So it's probably going to be more like 34 to 38 inches. But for now, the average is 36 to 40 inches, right? General fit, if you want to be in the fitness category, you want to be 32 to 35 inches as a man. Aesthetic, I can barely pronounce the word aesthetic, but a generally lean body type will be 28 to 32 inch chest. And I'm going to say too, your frame is definitely going to be a factor on this one too. If you have a larger frame, you're probably not going to be hitting 22 to 32 inches. That's probably someone that's like thinner and he's gifted in the waist category to get that low. Generally, you're going to want to be the 32 to 35 inch range for the fit category. For women, you're going to want to have a 34 to 30 inch, the average is a 34 to 38 inch waist. Once again, that's the average. Going back to the same issue I mentioned for the men, in the United States, we have a big person problem. Fit would be 26 to 30 inch waist for a woman, and athletic or aesthetically, 24 to 28 inches would be optimal for a woman. Once again, it does go back to body types. Some will be more gifted, they can get in those lower ranges, and some won't be gifted and they won't be able to get in those lower ranges. A guy with big arms, big chest, and a really small waist is going to look more impressive than, say, a bigger waist and then big arms and big chest. Unless it just completely overpowers the rest, like your chest size does and your arm size does, it can still look good, but definitely the leaner you are, the better the measurements will be. Same thing for women. Okay, let's move on to quads. And we all know this is what people skip the most, and you shouldn't be skipping because your legs are a significant portion of your total weight. It's going to release more testosterone if you work out your legs. probably the most important part to actually work out if you're looking for general fitness later on in life, so you can keep walking. But anyways, that's a different video altogether. But let's go ahead and get into the measurements of where you should be sitting at if you're lifting, right? So the average thigh size for a man is between 20 and 23 inches. Once again, this is going against general populations. So this isn't like lifter stats. If you want to go into lifting stats for in general for men, 24 to 26 inches is a solid size, right? You're lifting weights, you're getting bigger. 26 to 28 inches, you are in the big category. 28 inches plus, you are very well developed, and those are some big, thighs. You definitely probably could squat a lot. You could definitely do some probably glutes work, hamstring work. Very well developed. For women, the average is 18 to 22 inches. Once again, this is general population, not including lifters. So it'd be 18 to 22 inches. Fit would be like 20 to 24 inches, and advanced would be 24 to 27 inches plus. If your legs are smaller, it's going to look thicker. If they're longer, they're going to look thinner. And you have, different, challenges for everyone else. But that's about it for leg size. Once again, don't skip legs. It's definitely something you should be focused on. It's going to make your upper body bigger too, releasing testosterone. Keep at your legs. Don't be skipping legs. Okay, now that we have measurements out of the way here, let's go into some strength standards, right? So how strong should you be? What's considered strong? I mean, if you just look big and not strong, it's just for show. It's like buying the V6 model of the Mustang and then saying you have a Mustang, right? Doesn't go as fast as the other Mustangs do, right? So what's some standards here? Let's take a look at bench press. The bench press, you should be able to bench 1 to 1.5 times your body weight. So either your body weight you should be able to bench, or 1.5 your body weight you should be able to bench, right? So obviously if you get the higher end, even better, just like the averages. But that's about what you should be benching for a man. For men, you should be able to squat 1.5 to 2 times your body weight. That's a standard. Obviously, you want to be more towards the top end to be stronger. Deadlift will be 2 to 2.5 times your body weight. For the women, the bench press should be 0.5 to 1 times their body weight. Squats should be 1 to 1.5 times their body weight. And deadlift should be 1.5 to 2 times their body weight. If you're hitting these numbers, you're actually doing way better than you think. A lot of people struggle to even bench their body weight or squat their body weight. A lot of times I see people that, they have amazing benches, but they can't squat. Sometimes people can squat a lot and they have a bad bench. You just kind of work on what you have to work on. But these are general numbers to understand where your strength level is. If you fall in those ranges, you're doing better than you think. All right, now let's do a body fat reality check here. Realistically, if you have a lot of body fat, I fall in that category. I definitely try to work on my diet, trying to get it down and get leaner. Generally, if you're at 20% body fat with 17-inch arms, they're not going to look as impressive as someone, say, that has 17-inch arms at 10% body fat. There's a lot of muscle on there, no fat. It's going to look leaner and more cut up. It's naturally going to look bigger. The leaner you are, the bigger you will be, right? Or I shouldn't say the bigger you will be. I should say the leaner you are, the bigger you will look, right? Because when people see those cuts, they see those veins, they see that leanness, they automatically register it as being bigger, even though the bigger guy might even have bigger arms than that person. But that's the reality of it. The lower your body fat percentage is, the bigger you're going to look. Another thing you should consider is, are you big in clothes, right? I mean, even if you're super lean and, you have 14-inch arms or 15-inch arms, whatever those numbers come down to, and you don't look big in clothes, or you don't, you might look big, like if you have a small shirt on, small men's shirt on, and then you can finally see it. you're too small yet. All right, like maybe a medium, a large. You're filling those shirts in. You'd probably want to get bigger because most of the time people are going to see you in your clothes, right? They're not going to see you out of your clothes, so you want to look impressive in clothes. So you got to fill in a bit in order for that to happen. Real size shows through clothes. So, what are some of the biggest mistakes you can make trying to reach these goals? You want bigger arms, you want bigger quads, you want a bigger chest, maybe a smaller waist, or whatever your goal is in lifting weights and in fitness in general. Generally, you're either not eating enough or you're eating too little. Or, sorry, you're not eating enough to get bigger. You got to get over those maintenance calories. You got to put a little bit of fat on in order to gain that muscle size. If you're trying to lean down, you're not eating, you're eating too much. You got to get below your calorie range in order to get down to that leaner size. You might not be training hard enough. You're not tracking your progress, so you don't know you're actually getting better. You're skipping legs. You're being inconsistent. You have to go for a period of time, consistently, months to years, in order to gain those size and that strength you're going to need. So a lot of the biggest mistakes people make is they're just not dedicated enough. If you're not sweating when you leave the gym, you got to question if you worked hard enough to meet your goals. And my final thoughts on all this, you are where you are wherever you are in your journey. Maybe you're on the smaller end, these averages, and you got to work way up to the bigger end. Maybe you're on, the higher end of these averages, and, you just got to maintain it, or maybe try to push that limit to see how big you can get. Everyone's in a different spot. Everyone has their own battles. You just got to take it a day at a time and maybe change things around to see if it works for you. Maybe less calories, maybe more calories. Maybe, cutting out certain foods. Maybe you're not hitting your legs. Maybe you got to hit your legs, right? Whatever your problem is, you have to figure out because everyone has their own problems. The goal isn't always to get big. Hopefully you see it as just being healthy. That's the way I see it. If I gain size, I'm happy. But at the end of the day, it's about health more than anything else. So go ahead and get out there and build the physique you want. All right, if you actually do want to build that physique and you want to actually track the progress you're making here, right here is my app. I developed it myself for lifters. It tracks your workouts, it tracks your body measurements, it tracks your progress photos. I have more features coming in. I don't want to talk about them now. I'm probably going to be doing a redesign on it to make it look a little nicer. But do check that out. It'll be a big help if you can at least check it out for me. Go in there. If you don't like it, please just give me some feedback. I have a button in there to submit feedback. Let me know what you think, if you like it, if you don't like it, if you're going to use it. If you do like it, please continue using it and think about purchasing the lifetime membership. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be. It's $39.99. You get all the new features in the future. Trying to get some funds going to kind of so I can keep developing this app. Otherwise, if you like this content, please comment bigger in the comments below, and you all have a good day. Thanks.